Hi guys, today I want to introduce AppSheet within Google Sheets. So you might have come across AppSheet before. So if you look at what's in the extensions, you will see here is AppSheet, and it gives you options to create an app. So what does that mean? It's really Google Cloud's product enable you to create an application directly from a Google Sheets. So in this course, I will show you briefly how that can be done, and then give you some ideas what you can do with AppSheet. In recent years, there are many companies developed and published their low-code application development platform, and Google Cloud, including Google Sheets, has its own platform, which is AppSheet. So previously, AppSheet was a standalone company, and later on was bought by Google Cloud because Google Cloud sees the opportunities integrate AppSheet very well directly with Google Sheets. So in my personal opinion, AppSheet is probably one of the best low-code application development platform out there. To be transparent, I might be a little biased because I used to be a Googler myself. There are many use cases you can build application based on Google Sheets using AppSheet, like applications such as workflow management. If you want to build your own ticketing tool to manage IT ticket, for example, or if you want to manage expense submission, expense approval, or doing some of the scheduling for your teammates or employees, you can build such applications very easily leveraging Google Sheets and build such Google Sheets template within AppSheet. So it becomes your own application. And also things like if you want to build your own cash register, sales register, or timesheets, or log for your during your work, so you can easily build an application using AppSheet. Or you can do some of automations, calculations such as journal entries, or calculate some fair value allocations from 606 revenue recognition, or for fair value allocation for investment valuations, things like that. It can be very easily achieved in AppSheet by leveraging both AppSheet and Google Sheets. So in this course, I will actually demonstrate how to build a 606 allocation application using AppSheet within Google Sheets. So you may not understand what ASC 606 mean, which is totally okay. The purpose of this course is to show you how you can use AppSheet to build an application for yourself with the content or template you set up in Google Sheets. So just for your background, ASC 606 is one of the big accounting standard for revenue recognition in US GAAP for all the US public companies out there. If you haven't worked in revenue, especially as a content in revenue accounting, you probably don't know what ASC 606 mean, but which is okay. So one of the big requirements of ASC 606 revenue recognition is to allocate a sales contract total contract price to different performance obligations within the contract based on its fair market value. So the fair market value of the performance obligation is also called standalone selling price of the performance obligations, or SSP. So here I have a SSP schedule, a fair market value schedule for two different products. I call it SSP product number 1 and product number 2. Their fair market value is 92% of the list price and 82% of the list price. To allocation, I already set up the allocation schedule in Google Sheets. So what it essentially does is taking the input, what each performance obligation is, and then does the calculation using a pre-built formula directly within Google Sheets. So, and what the formula does is it's calculating what's the total standalone selling price for each performance obligation, and based on that total fair market value of each performance obligation, and then do the allocation, allocate the total contract price to each performance obligation, and then um, there will be allocation adjustment to the face value of each performance obligation, which is what we call it allocation adjustment. So this is the template. I set it up in Google Sheets already. And now I have an example contract. So this example contract has two performance obligations. One is direct SaaS, another is resale SaaS. What that means is it's the same SaaS product, but I sold the SaaS product in different channels. One is a sale directly with the customer. Another is a sale through a reseller, for example. But it's considered as one revenue contract for me. So, and for both of the performance obligations, the duration here is 1 year, and then the quantities is 90 here, 100 here, and list price is 10,000 here and 8,000 here. So those are basic information about the contract. So what I can do is if I just copy all those basic information over to the allocation tab, my pre-built formula should already populating everything for me. So now I can see, the formula is basically doing me a favor, calculating the allocated price and calculating the allocation adjustment between the two obligations. So I know the template works. Now I have a working template, so we can actually start building our applications directly on top of this template. So if I go to extension here and click AppSheet and click create an application, I will sign in using my account. So the AppSheet will pre-build a lot of things for you already to give you a jump start. Set the cookie, and AppSheet is telling me my app is ready. So let me close this and look at the AppSheet setup. So I can tell from here, I already have a seemingly working application, but it doesn't do anything for me, right? It means it is because I haven't configured anything yet. So instead of doing like this, I want to configure things doing the build on my own. The first thing to do whenever you build an app is to think about, what do you want the app to do? So, and for all purposes, we want to build an application that performs allocation calculation for us. So I want to bring in that allocation template I built from Google Sheets. So what I can do here is I can add a table allocation, which is bring that allocation tab directly in the AppSheet. And then I can click View Columns and adjust all the settings for each of the column here. So here I have a row number. I can make the row number a key if I want. But the key means unique keys. But for the moment, I actually want the unique key to be the unique contract name. And POB description is text, durations decimal, quantities the number, list prices price. So I'm checking all the attributes and all the types for each of the columns here. I have SSP category being text, SSP tier, um, text, quantity tier, text. All those can be a percentage. This can be a percentage, price. And so you can tell, like, based on your existing input, AppSheet already configured all the settings for you. But here, this one, I actually want to make this one has a text, and I want to do some special uh, calculation here by logging whoever entered the record. I want to log that person's name in this column. So to achieve that, let me write a formula. This is where you can write simple formulas to let AppSheet does automation for you. And here, all I want is the user email or username. So let me click OK here. Click Done. Out a little bit so you can see a better picture. So you can set each of the columns, whether it's edible or not, or things you require people to enter. Um, if you want to make it a required field. And if some of the columns, including PII's information, you want to do some further protections, you can mark those as PII. But for all purposes, we don't need any of those. So now I finished editing the allocation. Here, it will remind me I can save my application here. So I see the introduction tab was automatically brought into the application, but in reality, I don't need this, right? I don't need this. I can just delete this table. So I can click delete. Now I only have the allocation table template brought into the AppSheet. Earlier, you will notice the right side showed an error after we delete the introduction table from the data tables. The reason was when the AppSheet first created, it created the default view based on the default introduction table. After we delete that table, so that default view cannot find any data to connect with. That's why it showed the error. So after I deleted that introduction view, now it shows the blank. Basically, there's no view within the application that any user can interact with. So with that being said, let's go ahead and create our first view within this application we're trying to build. So I can call this view allocation calc, and it's from the data allocation table we brought in earlier. And I want just to create a table format. So I'm not gonna change any of the default setting here, and let me just go ahead and click save. If I zoom in a bit, so now you see there is a view here called allocation calculation and listing all the two POBs we created for the example contract 1. And you can see the allocation adjustment is showing here with POB description and all the content in here. So now we finished building our first view. It's easy enough, right? Let's be honest, guys. Not many people like to see a table format of the application. So maybe let's create a secondary view to visualize how the allocation is done for a contract. So here I create new view, and I can call this allocation visual here, and I can make it a chart Let me choose the donor chart. And for the I want to show the values of the POBs, and I want to show the allocated price of each POB. So now you can see it highlighted two POBs for me. However, it's the label, it only shows the example contract one. This is because in the data itself, if I go to the data itself, I have the label checked on the unique contract name. So let me uncheck this and check the POB description instead and save this. Now you can tell my allocation visual now is showing the actual performance application descriptions. So this is it. This is our second review we built for this application. So it's pretty straightforward, right? And you can quickly build your application this way. Now we have built two views within the application. One is allocation calculation, which does the calculation itself. Another is allocation visualization, which is a visualization associated with the allocation calculation. So you can add additional performance obligations for a particular contract, or you can create a new contract itself by creating a new record such as like this. And before you want to let anyone else using your application, you need to deploy the application first on Google Cloud. So the way it does is you can click manage here and then click deploy here and run the deployment check first. So my account is a free account, so the account status will not pass. But once you upgrade to a paid version, you will be able to click deploy after the deployment check. So, and let's say you successfully deployed the application and you want to share it with someone else who use the application. So you can click this share button here and enter the person's email or the domain address if you want that entire domain to have access to your application. So this is it, guys. This is our first AppSheet application using a Google Sheet template. How do you like it?